you'll be given lots of tools. For me, this was one of the best tools that we introduced, and I know Alan and I just had a very similar conversation whereby he's rolled it out with a member of staff who's been there 10 years. So there's value in rolling it out on day 1, on day 10 year. Yeah, there's value in doing it. What it does do is it tells existing staff that actually we're a company that's still invested in your development 10 year on. We're a company that's still moving forward. And often what it does do is, and I know we've had some questions down the front where how long do you persevere with things? There's no hard and fast rule with that, unfortunately. You've got to base it on a case-by-case basis. I've had staff members like Kaylee, you know, the lady that I was giving you an example of previously around the customer service. I got so many things from her. She just didn't get this bit. I spent 6 months and arguably it's too long. But for me it wasn't. For me I had a member of staff who was completely process driven but actually could offer a really good service. She was all singing, all dancing, she was fantastic. So it was worth doing. Likewise, I think what's important is when looking at anything like this is the attitude of somebody. You've got to, when you're doing any form of training and development, when you're assessing somebody's skills, there's got to be a willingness from them. At the end of the day, it's a slog. It's a slog to develop people. It can be, that's not always the case, but it can be an absolute slog and you can feel like, are we ever going to get there? And it's easy to take your foot off the gas. But if you get a willingness from that person, and if you can see growth, might not be at the speed that you're expecting, but if it's enough, then it's enough. So there's no hard and fast rules around time frames. It is just on a case-by-case basis. And like I said, trust your gut. Usually, and we said, you know, some of the biggest mistakes we made is not trusting our gut. We knew it didn't feel right, but we didn't act on it. Trust your gut, but underpin your gut with all of these nice all this nice structure, all of these nice documents and so on. Can I have some examples of things that people have put in their skills matrices? I think we had a question down the bottom where I think it's fair to say the example of the skills matrix we've given you in your booklet is behaviours and competencies, or competencies and behaviours. A valid question is, what's the difference? Truth is, I'm not 100% sure. We've got different, to give you examples, we've got different behaviours and we've got different competencies. Different behaviours I would expect to see in somebody is the type of attitude they have towards something. Competency might be a personal skill set that you require from them. So I would say the only way I could probably break down that difference is probably around more of an attitude. If you wanted just to have a section on competency stroke behaviours, just have a section on competency stroke behaviours. Don't get too caught up on, I must have that and I must have that. At the end of the day, these are guidelines. You've got to do what's right for you to manage, and what's right for your business. So have we got some examples around the room of the types of things that we've got in competencies and behaviours? Yeah.
Ability to be firm, ability to empathise but remain firm.
Perfect. Lovely. We haven't got that. I like that. I'm nicking it. What else have we got?
Good attention to detail.
Perfect. Yeah. And where have you put that in a
Do you know what? I put it in behaviours, but it's probably more of a competency in it.
It's a difficult line though, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is difficult. Yeah.
And the ability to influence and persuade.
Lovely. Love that. Really, really good. See, you're doing my job for us now. This is wonderful. John Reynolds. The ability to compromise and persuade. Influence and persuade. Yes, I'm sure we had another hand up over here.
Commitment to delivering wow moments.
Oh, I love that. What do you need to do next?
Define what a wow moment is.
Perfect. Lovely. And once you've defined it, you've got your expectation, which is perfect. I haven't heard much from the back.
Are you dressing for success as well?
Good.
Don't like shabby.
Yeah. Yeah. John's got an interesting story around that one, and some of the things he wanted to bring into the handbook. There's a bit of a.
I said dress to the size you've got, not the size you want.
We removed that. So yeah, it's sometimes a difficult balance to strike. But yeah, I love some of the ideas that you've got round. And what I would say, how many people can hand on heart say, I'm going to go back and this is something that I'm going to run with. I'm going to bring this in. Love that. Love it. Well done. Thank you. Moving on, off the back of your skills matrix will form your individual learning plan. What is an individual learning plan? It's a user-specific strategy of training and development that takes into consideration the learner's strengths and weaknesses, which is without your matrix or whatever other form. There's lots of different ways in which you can measure ability. I like simple things. To me, that's simple. It also is structured, and it also allows us to use it again and again and again. I like regurgitation because it makes my life easy. So that's exactly what we've got at that point. If we've taken into account their strengths and weaknesses, and we've got a specific plan to make better their weaknesses and to play to their strengths. It's based on the results from the skills matrix, and it clearly defines areas of development. What you're going to have with staff that are inexperienced, and remember we talked about earlier on making a decision on what type of people we're going to recruit. If you made a decision on an inexperienced member of staff, just be aware that you're going to spend longer on your training and development initially. Your expectations of how quickly they start to improve are going to be, much longer than what you would expect that you're paying an experienced member of staff. So again, no hard and fast rule. Set your expectations and stick to them. Expectations and time frames. Setting expectations. Your role profile will do that, your contract will do that, and your handbook will do that. Your procedures will set your standards. So we talked about procedures, we talked about a customer service charter, how to give wow, and when you define that, I'd like to see that. Customer service charter, and your targets as well. All of this is lovely fluffy stuff, but we've got to understand the numbers also. I could do fluff all day long, and the thing I have to really try hard to manage myself is the numbers are as important. I believe, get this bit right and these bits will follow. But the thing is, you've got to make sure that they are doing that. That's key. You've got to make sure you've got your figures. And lead them by example as well. If you set a customer service charter up, make sure that you can deliver that charter. If you tell people that you want to wow people, make sure that you can wow people. Or if you don't, there's nothing wrong with saying, I purposely don't do that bit because unlike you, I'm unable to wow, and I understand that, which is why I employ you. It empowers people. If you're told by somebody who's deemed to be, I say to managers all the time, I love what you just did there, I couldn't do that. You've never seen anybody who'll kind of fluff up at that point and go. I also, as well, put myself at their level if I need to. I'll often say, do you find that difficult? I'm really, really struggling with it. Would it surprise you that I found that really difficult? Yeah, you never found that difficult. I did, and I see a lot of me in you. And what that does is, and I only say that if I can genuinely see it, I don't think you should otherwise, but if you can genuinely see it, there's nothing wrong. In fact, it's everything right with telling somebody that. I was in exactly the same position. Tony and I had a similar conversation just the other week, and she said, I'm really struggling with this though, and I don't know if I'll ever get better at it. And I said, you will, and do you know how I know? Because I was exactly like you. No, you weren't. I was exactly like you. And I give her some scenarios, and instantly she felt, I got a lovely text on the night, I love today's sessions. She didn't, because they were awful and she was being observed, and I sat in our one-to-ones and I give her feedback after each one. And our first set of feedback was like that, our second one-to-one went like that, our third one-to-one went in 3 one-to-ones. You've nailed so many things, well done. I did not, you've picked it up brilliantly. I know it was uncomfortable, but the next one's going to be less uncomfortable, and the next one's going to be less uncomfortable. So never, lead by example, by asking for feedback, by being a bit humble as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We've discussed your first 3 months. As part of that, you've got your probationary review. You've got a probationary review document, I believe, within your booklet. I'm sure you have. Did we? Have we not? It's another drink for John. Oh, it should have boxes round. No, you haven't got it. Oh, there's another drink for John. You didn't give them that. Right then.
John
Okay.
structure falling down there.
So, probation review document. It's about, off memory, about 3 pages long. It's got the start date. I'm trying to remember what it looks like off the top of my head. It's got their start date, at what point their first month is, what point their second month is. It looks after things like, have they turned into work? And it basically, hour 1, which you don't need to replicate that, but ours will say good, could be better, excellent, that kind of thing, and you'll circle which one they're at. And it'll be things like, did they turn into work every day? What was their absence levels like? Were they on time? You know, so it just shows, it's those things that you really want, you expect from them day to day, they're on there to start with. Beyond that, you'll have set on your probation review document what type of things you're looking for in month 2, what type of things you're looking for in month 3, and all you do in each step of the way is kind of saying we're on target. We said that you'd know this, you know that, or actually you're ahead of target on that. At the end of it, at the end of the 3 month, you should be in a position whereby you're not sat with a member of staff who, in fairness, you have chickened out on. You didn't have the time to train them. You knew that they need training because you took somebody on probably slightly inexperienced or not from the industry, but you took a bit of a risk, but you haven't spent the time with them you should have done. You haven't wanted to sit with them and review that because that would mean you're spending the time with them. So you've buried your head and you've hoped for the best. If you sat in that position after 3 months and you let that person go, you shouldn't be a leader in my book, because you have let them down, you have failed them. You don't always give them exactly what they need, but it's about communication each step of the way. If in month 1 you plan to do all these things and you haven't, not the end of the world, but have the conversation with them. I think you've done brilliantly actually with a little direction from me on this, this and this. I'm probably not in a position to give you tons more, but I'd really like to see your focus is it be in this area next. There's nothing wrong with that, but keep your communication open. Let them know how they've done without your guidance. Let them know that this is where I plan to give you the guidance in the next month. Let them know not to worry about it, because if we need to, we'll extend your probationary a little bit. I'd ideally like not to, because I think you can do this off your own initiative. I'm going to sit you with this person. Keep your lines of communication open, because if you have to sit with somebody at month 3, they're not where they need to be, and it's because of things that you haven't done, then you have let them down. You've wasted time, you've wasted resources, you've wasted money, and you've also demotivated a lot of staff alongside that as well, because if that person's sat unhappy, they will start speaking to others about it as well. Your probationary review is a chance to review progress. It's to identify key development areas and script those and set your time scales, because what you'll notice is within your skills matrix, it sets where they are, but it doesn't really give time scale, so you need something else to support that. It celebrates your successes and achievements, and it maps out your next 3 months. So I generally, at the point that I get to the 3 month, if I sign somebody off their probationary period, I will often still map out the next 3 months. Now it might be just to kind of continue what we've done, or in 3 months time I'm going to make sure, I expect you've had all of this training, you've met 20 out of 30 learning objectives, I want those next 10 met in the next 3 months. You've got an opportunity at the point of your 3 month probationary period to extend, to congratulate and say brilliant, well done, you know, you're a fully fledged member of staff now, or you've got the opportunity to dismiss also. Within your probation period you have a ton of flexibility, but don't use it to your advantage to underpin where you haven't done things you should have done. Use it to give them the best opportunity to get it right. Sign off, extend, terminate. That's pretty much your options. So, one last task to finish this particular session with. Can you list 3 tools that you feel your business would benefit from, and give yourself a time scale to roll them out? So we've got role profiles, skills matrices, ILPs, probationary review documents. That gives you a good start anyway, whatever else we covered in the booklet. Alright?